Hey, let's go to our next slide. I want to talk about the next piece of it here, which is the three main points. There's three main points I want to talk about tonight. Is that when you're looking at a utility NFT project, there's three main things you should look at. And the first one is community, all right? And tonight, again, remember, we're talking about the business process. Later on, we're going to talk about technicals and execution in another session. But tonight, we're talking about business processes. And so when I talk about community, you have to ask yourself, who is the community that I want to reach, right? So like, for example, in our particular project, we're saying our community we want to reach is business owners that maybe have a valuable product and service and they want to get it out there and they need a community to be able to reach to, right? So who is your community, all right? So that's like our community. And so the question is, where are they? Where do they reside? How do you reach that community? How do you reach them? And then how do you scale? How do you ramp it up? How do you get to more people? And how do you double that, triple that? How do you 10X that? So really it's all really about community. And so, Rachel, if you were doing an NFT like in your world, I mean, how do you typically today, network with people? What is your way of networking with people today to reach your community?
Well, social media, I network with a lot of people through LinkedIn, Instagram, there's TikTok, Twitter, Clubhouse, but my main
YouTube, yeah.
Yes, YouTube, and of course the OG Facebook, but that's not the top one. But my top two are LinkedIn and Instagram. Yeah, and so just presenting yourself and displaying what you're doing and your project in all of those different platforms.
Yeah. And Rach, I know you work with people who are kind of surprised sometimes that you're so active on LinkedIn. I mean, what's your perception of that, today? What's the value of doing it versus not doing it?
I mean, I've just received a lot of extra help and feedback through LinkedIn about my career from connecting with different artists in the industry. And I think it is a giant pool of knowledge that you can just learn from so many people there. And I've talked to some of my friends and people that I work with, and some use LinkedIn a lot, some others hardly use LinkedIn. And it actually blows some of my friends' minds when I tell them just how I have received different jobs and extended my career just through LinkedIn. So I don't think that we should at all I don't think that LinkedIn is something that we should definitely not be thinking about in that space. Like, LinkedIn is a giant part of how you can talk about what you're doing with your different projects. And even if it might seem like very professional, each platform has their own specialty, and you can showcase each part of your project through each platform.
Yeah. Rachel, I was on a live webinar. It was somebody else's. I think it was last Friday, about a week ago. And there's a woman I know who's really an expert on LinkedIn, and she does a really, really good job. And she was the guest on that program. That's why I watched it. And she said that in her business in the last couple of years, they've moved to where 30% of their business comes from clients that saw them first on LinkedIn. And so if you're out there watching and you're saying, hey, is this really a platform to be able to reach people on? LinkedIn is absolutely a platform to be able to reach people on. And then, yeah, absolutely. And then Gabe, I'm going to flip this over to you for a minute, is that we do two kinds of outreach. Like right now we're doing outreach on about 6 different social media platforms simultaneously. We're reaching out to people all at one time. And then the other thing that we do, Gabe does a lot of sales and marketing, new business development work for us. And it's all, it's all hardcore push, Gabe. And just what's your perception on the difference between, hardcore sending messages and emails and, versus the kind of outreach I just talked about, where the woman said 30% of the people see her on LinkedIn and they reach out to her and they buy her services. They're in manufacturing, they're in aerospace. But Gabe, what do you see as kind of the difference between those things and the difficulty in doing them?
Yeah, well, first of all, marketing on or reaching out on LinkedIn is super easy. What's funny, you were saying, Rachel, you were talking about how, not a lot of your friends even, use LinkedIn or had one. And I didn't have one until a few months ago, and I just recently created one. So I didn't even have one either. But let me tell you what LinkedIn is. After seeing your LinkedIn profile, Mark,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so if you have connections, it's so easy to reach out. Okay, as opposed to if you are doing marketing, emailing people. Half the time you're sending bulk emails to people. You're not even going to get. What are you going to get?
Getting them
10% of those people are even going
at
to
1 or
open
2 or
them. Right.
3%. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And LinkedIn, if you're connected with them, or even if you send them a message and you're not even connected, you can there's a good chance that they're going to be opening that message, or they'll be connecting with
Respond to
you.
you.
Yeah,
Yep.
very
Yep.
way more responsive than just cold
Yeah, yeah.
cold
So
calling,
listen,
or
community is important, and we have to be able to be reaching out to our communities. And so point number one I wanted to bring up tonight was community. All right, you have to reach your community where they are, and you have to use the method to be able to reach them. And I believe that our social medias that we're doing are highly effective. So let's go to the next.